Hello, and welcome to this week's edition of Tuesday Table Talk. I am Dana Spinks.
And I'm Melissa Watts, and we are Notary Know How.
James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, states, in the absence of regular reflection, we move from year to year without celebrating our successes, learning from our failures, and assessing whether what we're doing in life is what we actually want to be doing in life. Sitting down to review your life one piece at a time will uncover hidden lessons and important insights you can take into the next year. Mr. Clear goes on to say, basically, my annual review forces me to look at my actions over the past 12 months and ask myself, are my choices helping me to live the life I want to live?
So, at Notary Know How, we want to show you our process of end of the year reflection, number one, and number two, our new year planning so that you can optimize your success for 2024.
There are several methods for doing an end of the year review. You can review last year's goals one by one, notating what you achieved and what you did not and why. You can do a month to month review. You can review your year month by month by scrolling through journal entries, events on your calendar, notes, tasks, and snapshots on your camera roll. You can do a review questionnaire. There are many annual review questionnaires to be found online. We took our favorite questions from all that we researched and created a list of our favorites that we put into a free workbook that we are going to share with you. You can also do a review by area of life. The last method we are suggesting is one where you review your year according to the area of life, a specific area of life. For example, a review of your business/career, a review of your personal life, a review of your family and home life, your finances, your health, and also your spiritual life. If choosing this method, we have a chart from Todoist.com that helps you explore each of your life areas. We will share a copy and the link to the list online. In the chart, they give several examples, and I just want to show you two examples, okay? So for the first one, if we're going to do a review of our health, what to consider would be your diet, your exercise, your sleep, your mood, and your stress levels. And what you will need is any logs that you have kept throughout the year, perhaps a food log or a workout log. If maybe you use an app like FitnessPal or Strava or Peloton, okay? If you have a handwritten journal, if you do it old school, any notes that you wrote about it in your journal, a to-do list or your calendar. And a second example I'll give you is your finances. So what you want to consider when doing a review of your finances, what did you spend your money on in the year? What money did you save? What did your budget look like? Did you create a budget? Did you stick to the budget? And any big ticket purchases that you made. Areas to consider are things that you will need to do this review are your bank account statements, bank account transactions, credit card statements, any financial apps that you use can also help you take a snapshot review of that area. So as you can see, there are many ways that you can do an end of the year annual review. The method you choose is not what is most important though. The most important thing is that you do a review because this will help to set you up for greater success in the upcoming year.
Oh, yeah. And an end of the year review will help you take a hard look at whether or not you achieved your goals for the year. So, did you spend time on what you wanted to this past year in achieving your goals? And if not, why? And some other things like what are the activities that directly feed your goals? Also, the opposite is true. What activities are you involved in that directly impede you from
Mhm.
achieving your goals? And how do you measure the output of what you have achieved this year. So sitting down and doing this reflective thing and actually sitting down with pen and paper is just so powerful.
It really is, Melissa. Here's an example from Todoist.com of how an annual review can help you correct unmet goals.
Right.
For example, let's say someone wants to generate more revenue in their business. They have a solid offering in place and a great conversion rate. Then leads are the problem. And if leads are the problem, they need to work on their marketing strategy. And if their marketing strategy, of course, is Instagram, for example, I ask how many times they've posted to Instagram in the past month. That's the metric of output that's important in this case. And let me tell you, without fail, that's when the obstacles, excuses, and what else they spent their time on comes tumbling out. The truth
Yeah.
comes to the surface when you ask the hard questions and you take a hard look. Then it's about looking at those excuses, those things you did instead of posting to Instagram in this example, and determining how can we overcome these obstacles. You can use our annual review and planning workbook to take a hard look at your goals, successes, and failures of 2023 and what caused those failures so you can make the necessary changes to have a successful 2024.
Yes. So there's 5 key takeaways when you do an annual review of yourself and your goals, where you were personally, professionally, financially, spiritually, and all of those things. The first thing is that reflection helps us to learn from our mistakes. Second, reflection allows us to celebrate our successes. Sometimes, and I'm one of these people, I'm guilty of doing this, I am really hard on myself. So at the end of the day, there you go. At the end of the day, sometimes I will look back and I will think about all the things that I have not gotten done that day, rather than celebrating everything that I did get accomplished that day. So reflection also helps us to know if we are actually doing what we really feel like we're called to do and what we're supposed to be doing. Then fourth, it helps us identify areas in which we need to improve and the steps we need to take to make the changes that Dina was talking about a while ago in order to do that. And then last, but certainly not least, it helps us to dream about a better future. And that's one thing that we are focused on this year for you all. Dina and I both are. We are dreaming of a better future for each and every one of you.
Yes, yes. Now that we've taken a cold, hard look at last year, let's talk about planning for New Year and working towards those dreams. New Year
Yes.
planning is vitally important to the growth of your business and for you personally. In order to stay relevant and offer value added services, our businesses should always strive to improve in all areas. In order to live the best life we can be happy with, we need to continually reflect and plan and make adjustments where necessary. There are several things that we want to suggest for New Year planning. The first thing we will suggest is making a list of 50 things you want to accomplish or change, or changes that you want to see happen in the new year. So now's your chance to sit down and dream about what you want your new year to look like. Make a list of important lifestyle changes you want to see in the new year. In a moment, we are going to talk about how to see those changes happen.
Okay, so the next step in New Year planning is to set goals based on what you want to achieve in the new year. So look at that list that Dina was just talking about things that you want to achieve. And let me be clear. Let me just back up just a second and we'll talk about this in detail. And that is that the list of things you want to achieve is different from your list of goals. So one of the things we're going to talk about is And Dina knows that I love acronyms, and we found this one. We're not laying claim to or title to this, but this one's been around for a long time, and it's
Mhm.
really works really well. It's called SMART. Make SMART goals for yourself. So S stands for specific. So be sure that your goals, SMART. The first one is S stands for be specific. And let me just show you something real quick. I'm going to deviate from our script a little bit. And that is, this is the workbook that we have put together for you. Now, it's downloadable, and you can either print it, or you can, like Dina says, you can do it online or whatever. But I'm old fashioned. That's me. I like printed things. So I printed mine, and I printed the first page twice. So I took the first one and I put it on here. But I want you to look at this workbook. This is fantastic. It's just beautiful. It's beautifully designed and easy to use. And it's something I can see pulling out year after year and doing again and again. But let's come over here to the SMART goals. This is where you list your things you'd like to accomplish. And then we're going to come over a few pages. And here's our SMART goals. So you can see the S stands for specific, the M is for measurable, the A is for actionable, the R is for relevant, and the T is for timely. So let's go back and break that down. S is for specific goals. So for example, one of the things I have put on my list, things I want to achieve for this year, is I want to have a healthy, productive garden. So the goals that I have to set to achieve that are very different from just I want to achieve a healthy garden. I have specific goals I have to set in order to do that. So then they have to be measurable. Those goals have to be measurable. Okay, have I planted this on this day to achieve this goal out here to have a healthy garden? Do I have the right tools that I need? Do I have the right soil that I need, et cetera, et cetera? So that's specific, measurable, achievable. Are these things achievable? So we are in Alabama, and so there are some things that are just not going to grow at certain times of the year. And being aware of that and knowing what I can actually achieve versus what I can't achieve. Also, where I live, I may not be able to plant 30 ears of, 30 things of corn. Okay, that just would not be an achievable goal. So I need to set my standards where I know I can achieve those. And then the next one is relevant. Okay. And I know this is kind of simplifying this in this specific example, but relevant. For example, I wouldn't plant strawberries if I'm allergic to strawberries. Okay. Then the last one is time bound. And especially when you're talking about this type of goal in regards to planting. Did I do this in a timely fashion? Because if I didn't, there's no way that out here, based upon how Alabama weather is, there's no way that down here, down the road, that I'm going to get the result I was looking for. I will not accomplish that goal. So, do y'all see the difference? I hope that helped clarify things a little bit. The list of things you want to achieve is different than your goals. And your goals help you reach the things that you're trying to achieve. But if you will break those goals down, we don't want you to be overwhelmed. That's the reason why we're saying this. If you break these goals down into small bite-sized bits, SMART, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timely, you'll hit the mark almost every single time. And we're here to help you do that.
Yes, 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 yes. And I wanted to say one more thing about that SMART worksheet. You know,
Yes.
there are 3 pages of it in the workbook. The space to put your goal is so big that you can actually put like 4 per page,
Mhm.
and the beautiful thing with this being a downloadable workbook that you have a copy of, you can print as many of those pages that you need. Okay.
Mhm.
And one thing we suggest to people too is when you make that list of 50 things that you want to accomplish in the new year, kind of look over it with the lens of which one of these things can kind of be grouped together. So when you make your goals, you're not going to set a goal necessarily for every single accomplishment that you want to achieve in the new year, because a lot of the things are related. You will find when you look, you will find a theme. When you look through your annual review questions, you will see common themes and you can set goals to those themes. So, according to Todoist.com, our ambitious goals should also be grounded in reality. And I think Melissa was just talking about that.
Mhm.
They offer a fantastic chart, Todoist.com does, that we will share a link to, and it helps you understand what a realistic goal looks like. I'm just going to give you 2 examples, okay?
Yeah.
So, say one of your goals is, I want to read 3 books, okay? Or that's your benchmark. I read 3 books. An unrealistic goal would be, I will read 52 books in the new year. I don't know about you guys. I do not have time to read 1 book a week in the new year.
Mhm.
Okay. Unrealistic goal for me. So, a reflection informed goal is, I will read 15 books this year. Okay.
There you
So,
go.
here's another example. Say you are trying to cut down the number of times you order takeout. A benchmark could be, I order takeout 3 times a week. An unrealistic goal is, I will never order takeout in the new year. I'm sorry, I don't have a crystal ball. I can't tell the future. I don't know what the new year holds, okay? You may very well have to order takeout in the new year. So a reflection informed goal could be, I will order takeout 2 times a month. So, and it's a goal. It's not set in stone. It's just set to guide you. Okay.
Right.
So when we set unrealistic goals, we are sabotaging ourselves and setting ourselves up for potential failure. But don't beat yourself up if you don't meet the goal. Just try and try again.
Mhm. You hit that reset button.
Right.
So, next on our list of New Year planning is to identify and pick your word for the year.
Hmm.
So, you may have never done this before, and this may be a totally new concept for you. I have done it in previous years. I've never been real consistent with it every single year, but I have done it in previous years. And it's powerful, y'all. It is so powerful. So there's several ways to help identify your word for the year. And it will help shape everything that you plan for the year. And if you look back at that list that you made of the 50 things that you want to accomplish this year, you're going to begin to see a theme,
Hmm.
whatever that is for you. That is what your word will begin to develop as you look at that list. But let's look at several strategies. Let's look at 5 things that you can do to help you hone in on how to pick your word for this year. First of all, list all of those things, like we talked about, list all of those things that you would like to focus on for this year. Okay, so that's your 50 that we talked about earlier. So, do you have your SMART goals determined for this year? Then review the list and look at your goals, and review the list and look at your goals, and a theme is going to start to emerge. Take a colored pencil and mark 3 words that are similar that you can then begin to clump together and then realize, oh, this is a common theme. And this also will help take a magnifying lens and just literally put that magnifying lens over some areas of your life where maybe in the years past you have not been able to accomplish your goals. So pick out a few words that describe your overall yearly theme, and then from there begin to narrow it down. Which word gives you the greatest chance of helping you achieve your goals and the things you've set out to accomplish this year? And if you were to view the word through the world through the lens of that word, how would it affect your outcome? So which one of those words that you highlighted is the most motivational for you? So picking your word is not always easy. I know that it was not easy for me because this year, as notary know-how has begun to develop and branch out into other areas, and we're growing so fast and everything, I know that, I sat down, I'm going to choose my word for this year. And it's just like this whole big, huge world was out there because we've got so many things that we are excited to explore and accomplish this year. So it's not always easy to narrow that word down, but review, brainstorm, make lists, get creative. And this is just very powerful, specifically when you are an entrepreneur. Because you remember when, if you're like Dina or myself, when coming from corporate America, every single year you sat down with whoever was in management just above you, and you had this annual review. Well, when you're an entrepreneur, you really have to be the one that holds yourself accountable
Yes.
to do this annual review, reflecting back this way of where you've been and planning for this year of what's coming ahead. And the really neat thing is choosing this word thing. That's something that you get to do for yourself. Remember when you worked in corporate America, the review and then the planning ahead? Somebody else said, this is the plans I have for you for this year, and this is what we want to see you do this year. And oh yeah, by the way, corporate has come down and said, our word for this year is, such and such. And, and this is the really neat thing. You set the standard for yourself.
Mhm.
And that is the key to your success.
Yes. Now that you know your word for the year, let me tell you how to implement it. And this is really cool. I love this.
Yes.
These are some suggestions, some of our favorite suggestions that we found online that we really just are excited to share with you. According to sublimereflection.com, your word needs to feel like it fits.
Yes.
Some years you need a more active word because you're in a season of growing. Other years, you're needing rest and rejuvenation and will want something softer that speaks to that. In our free annual review, New Year Planning Workbook is a worksheet for applying your word to the different areas of your life. For example, if your word is brave, how can you be more brave in your personal life in the new year? How can you be more brave professionally, in your finances, spiritually, with your health? It's important to see your word and be reminded of it often. And here are some really cool ideas for ways to display your word so that you see it often.
Mm-hmm.
Write it on the cover of your bullet journal or your planner. You will see it every single day. Create a vision board with your word. You can do this virtually with Pinterest or Canva, or you can go old school and pull out the magazines and the glue and the corkboard.
Yep.
You can create a themed reading list for that word theme. You can read
Yeah.
books that are related to that word theme. You can find poems with that word as the theme and read them. You can create a list of monthly quotes Find 12 quotes with your word and put that in your planner at the beginning of each month. KennyChaos.com offers one more way to implement your word to manifest change in the new year. Put a photo on your phone lock screen related to your word. Kenny Chaos also says that it's important you are constantly reminded about your word. Allow your word to propel you forward and guide your dreams for the new year. And one more goodie I want to share is permoldinglife.com. Here are some other ways to implement your word of the year in your life in 2024. Okay? You can write down the word and place it on the mirror, dressing table, office space, areas where you see it all the time. You can share this idea with an accountability partner that will help to motivate you in that area of work. You can write down this word in your journal and also favorite quotes related to the word. Ask yourself before you make a choice or a decision every day, is this decision or choice in alignment with the word that has been chosen for this year? And forgive yourself when you slip up a few times. Remember, it's never easy to make changes.
That last one is my favorite. Forgive yourself. So, as we close the chapter on this year and open the door to a new one, it's crucial to reflect on the journey. That's the important part. Reflecting on the journey we've traveled and chart the course for the year ahead. Our end of the year review and New Year Planning Workbook serves as a valuable tool in this process, offering a structured approach for you. So let's take the time to engage by picking up pen and paper, filling out this workbook, making those lists of things you want to achieve, making your SMART goals, and creating your word for this year. And then last but not least, in creating this workbook, our commitment is to provide a resource that not only guides you through the reflective and proactive process, but it also nurtures a culture of continual improvement and goal setting. Mm-hmm. So your journey is unique. It's not going to be the same as mine. It's not going to be the same as Dina's, but we are so thankful and we are so grateful to each and every one of you that we're on this journey together. Thank you so much for joining us today on Tuesday's Table Talk.
Yes, thank you, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year from Notary Know How. Blessings.